Yesterday, Sayadaw explained that practicing Satipatthana meditation is in order to strengthen the mind, in order to fill the mind with necessary strength. So, practicing Satipatthana meditation can develop faith and confidence and increase one's faith and confidence through practicing Satipatthana meditation. So yesterday, Sayadaw explained what is explained in Majjhima Nikaya, that by practicing Vipassana meditation, one can develop saddha, faith and confidence. Before one practices Satipatthana meditation, one needs to listen, one needs to learn the benefit of practice. By knowing the benefit of practice, one will understand that this Satipatthana practice is not something small, but it is something great. So understanding the benefit of practice and knowing that this Satipatthana practicing is great, then one can awaken saddha, one can awaken faith and confidence. So by understanding the benefits of practice, one will come to acceptance that it is probable that these benefits will arise by practicing meditation. So in this way, saddha, faith and confidence will be awakened. And also, before Sayadaw concluded the talk yesterday, Sayadaw talked on two factors in order to awaken saddha, faith and confidence. So the first factor is sadhuka savana. It means one should listen to the instruction, guidance, respectfully, carefully, attentively. So one should learn the instruction from the guidance, from the thoughts. So it is very important to listen carefully, respectfully on the guidance. And one should approach a kalyana mitta, a true friend who is able to explain from both theoretical and practical aspects. So by approaching kalyana mitta, by approaching a true friend, one should listen very attentively, carefully, concentrating on what this kalyana mitta gives as guidance. So whatever the kalyana mitta gives guidance, every gist, every point has to be noted so that the person will not forget what she had listened in the talk or in the guidance. So only by noting every point and every gist from these instructions, then one would understand the correct method of practice. So one should approach this kalyana mitta, one should listen attentively, concentrate on what he instructs or guides. So by listening attentively, respectfully, she can overcome not knowing of the method, can be overcome by listening attentively, listening carefully. And also, one should meet with meditation teacher and one should discuss one's experience with the teacher. So in this way, one should also have discussion with the teacher. So by having discussion with the teacher, unknowing of the method could also be dispelled. And another way of dispelling not knowing is reading books. But during an intensive retreat, yogis are not allowed to read books. So it is sufficient for the yogis who are practicing intensively to listen to the Dhamma talk and to have discussion with a teacher in the interview session. But during the Dhamma talk and during the interview, yogis should listen attentively. Yogis should concentrate what the teacher is giving instruction or guidance, and one should note properly whatever point, whatever gist the teacher gives instruction. And in the practice, when practicing, there are many things to be known in the body. So even the slightest movement, such as blinking of the eye, opening and closing of the eye, these are the objects of meditation. So these objects are objects of meditation. So Sayadaw explained that when one is planting the paddy, there is the field. So the whole field is called the field of paddy. So in the whole field of paddy, there are part by part in the paddy field. So in the same way, whatever arises throughout the whole body is a field of objects to be noted. Within the whole body, there are part by part, so there will be objects arising in part of the body. So this is also the object of meditation. So when practicing Satipatthana meditation, one should pinpoint the area where the present arising object is taking place. So just as in the field of paddy, there is part of the just like in the paddy field, there are part of paddy. So in the same way, throughout the body, which is the whole field of object of meditation, you should pinpoint the area where the presently arising object is taking place. So you need to pinpoint the area where the presently arising object is taking place so that the object will be clear. So Sayadaw gives an example. If you have a group photo and if you want to look at a certain person, you need to pinpoint, you need to draw a circle where she is so that you can see the person clearly. Another way is you can draw an arrow pointing at the person you want to see. But the best way is to pinpoint the person you want to see in the group photo. In the same way, when practicing Satipatthana meditation, you need to pinpoint the area where the object is taking place. So in order to see the presently arising object clearly, you need to pinpoint, you need to aim the mind towards the object, and you need to put effort so that the noting mind will get to the object of meditation. So you need to know the correct method, how these objects could be noted, how these objects should be noted. So you should note with aim and effort so that you can note on the object of meditation. So by pinpointing the area where the presently arising object is, and by noting with aim and effort, the object will be very clear to you. So it is very important to note that way. So when practicing meditation also, and during this listening to the Dhamma talk, you need to listen with faith and confidence, and you need to listen very attentively, very actively, and you should also listen with full of alertness, readiness and activeness, and also listen attentively what is talked in the Dhamma talk. And one should listen very attentively, mindfully, concentrating the mind, so that there will be mindfulness, there will be concentration during the talk. And also there should be prudence, there should be reflection on what topic it is about, but you don't need to think too much of it, but you need to pay full attention so that you will not miss out any point during the talk. One should also have moral shame from missing to listen any point during the talk. If you have moral shame from missing the point of the talk, then you will not be losing to hear the method of practice. So if you are negligent, forgetful, not mindful, then you will be losing the point, you will be losing the gist of the talk, and you will also lose to know the method of practice. And you also need to have moral fear from missing any point from the talk. So in this way, you should listen attentively, mindfully, concentrating on it with reflection, and also with moral shame and moral fear from missing any point. So in this way, you should listen attentively, respectfully, so that you will not lose to hear any passage, any paragraph, any line, any sentence, or any point during the talk. So if you are listening haphazardly, if you are not paying attention properly, then you will lose to know the method of practice. So it is very important you also listen with moral shame and moral fear from missing to hear the point in the talk. So if you listen carefully, attentively, then you will learn the correct method of practice, so that you can make use of these instruction and guidance in your practice. So yesterday, Sayadaw was talking on it when the hour ended. So today, Sayadaw explained again so as to clarify. So the second factor is Satutta Manasikara. One should practice in accordance to the guidance given respectfully. So one should note respectfully, so that the noting mind and the object of meditation would be concurrent. And there should be yoniso manasikara, attention, directing the mind, conducting the mind towards the object, so that it will be on the right path. So the noting mind and the object of meditation should be face to face or direct with the object. So one should practice accordingly to what she had heard in the instruction and guidance. So one should cultivate this saddha, faith and confidence that has awakened by practicing Satipatthana meditation. So the saddha that has been awakened should be cultivated by practicing Satipatthana meditation. Sayadaw gives an example. A person who has wake up, so one should give him or her who has recently wake up a kind of work. So if the person who has just wake up has no work to do, she will return into bed and sleep again. Even though if she does not sleep again, she will be lazy. So you need to give the person who has just awakened some kind of work so that this person will overcome his or her sleepiness. So in the same way, the saddha, faith and confidence that has been awakened should be cultivated by practicing Satipatthana meditation. So in order to cultivate, in order to nurture this awakened saddha, one needs to be mindful on the object, whatever that arises. So every time the object arises, one needs to be mindful. One needs to guard and protect the mind with mindfulness, whatever object that arises. So it means that every time one sees, every time one hears, every time one smells, tastes, touch, knows, one should be mindful all the time. So every time touching takes place, one should be mindful. So touching, it is very widespread. Rising, falling is also touching. Lifting, moving, placing is also touching. So whenever this rising, falling, lifting, moving, placing, which are a way of touching, takes place, one needs to be mindful. So the whole body is a field of objects, and in this whole body there will be objects arising, part of the body. Then wherever part of the body the object is arising, wherever the object is obvious, you need to be mindful of them. And when practicing Satipatthana meditation, you should practice with faith and confidence, and you should also have the wish or the will to get the practice. So you should have strong will in order to get the Satipatthana practice. You should also have strong will in order to develop mindfulness. So one needs to practice the Satipatthana meditation with faith and confidence, strong will, strong wish, and one should practice with full of alertness, readiness, and activeness. And one should note the presently arising object with courage, alertness, and activeness. So if the person is able to note this way, the noting mind will stick onto the object of meditation, and there will be sustained mindfulness. In order to have sustained mindfulness, you need to aim the mind towards the object, you need to put effort, and you need to note with alertness. So by putting effort in the practice, there will be sustained mindfulness. The mind will fall calm and collected on the object, and the person will come to know the true nature of the object. And also the person will come to know distinctly between mind and matter, between nama and rupa, mind and matter. And also one will come to understand cause and effect. So in this way, mental strength will be developed. In every noting, there are eight factors of noble path included in each noting. If the person fails to note the object, one will be losing these 8 factors. Every time one loses to note the object, he, she is losing sila training, samadhi training, and panya training. So every time he, she is negligent or failing to note the object, the person is losing sila training, morality training, concentration training, and panya training. So one should have moral shame from losing. One should have moral shame from this failure to note, so that these kilesa defilements can enter into the mind by lack of mindfulness. So one should be shameful not to fail to note. One should be shameful that kilesa defilement would enter by lack of mindfulness. So when one is developing knowledge amazingly, then sati, mindfulness, is cultivated. Sati will become amazingly strong. So when the person has got to this stage, he, she will come to accept. He, she will come to accept and come to a decision that this practice is right. So in this way, his or her practice is progressing, and he, she will come to have more faith and confidence in the Satipatthana practice. In this way, one should cultivate the awakened saddha with Satipatthana meditation, so that this faith and confidence will become stronger. The objects are arising and passing away. The nama-rupa phenomena, the nama-rupa objects are arising and passing away continuously. All objects dissolving, new object arising, all object dissolving, new object arising. So in this way, these nama-rupa are arising and passing away continuously in a very fast manner. So when the yogi comes to see the objects arising and passing away in a very fast manner, then this yogi is developing saddha, faith and confidence in the practice amazingly. So when the yogi gets to this stage of discerning the fast arising and passing away of the object, then it is said that his or her mental strength has started to fulfill. So he, she is getting to the time where his or her mental strength are starting to become complete or fulfilled. So in order to have this mental strength, one needs to cultivate mindfulness. So if one can note for one moment, he, she will have one moment of mental strength. If the person can note continuously for 1 minute, then if there is one noting per second, in 1 minute continuous noting, there will be 60 times of mental strength. And if there is 5 minutes of noting continuously, there will be 300 moments of mental strength arising. And if the person is able to note 1 hour continuously, then there will be 3,600 moments of these mental strength arising, and it is called bhavana. Bhavana means developing the wholesome mind, so that the wholesome mind will arise, and one cultivates or increases this wholesome mind repeatedly, so that this wholesome mind will grow. So if the person is able to cultivate and increase the wholesome mind, the mind will become from small to big, developed and increased. So strength, if there is just one moment of strength, it will not be strong. If you combine many moments of mindfulness, then the mental strength will become stronger. So Sayadaw gives an example. In a rope, there are a lot of fibers combined together and twined together to make into a rope. So one fiber alone is not strong enough. If 2 fibers, 3 fibers are entwined or combined together, they become stronger. And if many of the fibers are entwined and combined together, then they will make a very strong rope. And also, these fibers should be closely entwined so that they are very close to each other. If they are apart from each other, then the rope will not be as strong. But these fibers should be closely entwined. These fibers should be closely combined so that it will make a strong rope. In the same way, when mindfulness are not continuous to each other, if the preceding mindfulness and the succeeding mindfulness are not close to each other, there will not be strength. So these mindfulness should be close to each other, they should be continuous so that the mental strength will become strong. So just like in the rope, if the fibers are not closely entwined, it will not make a strong rope. In the same way, if mindfulness are not close together, the mental strength will not be strong. That's why one needs to be mindful continuously without any gap so that the mental strength will become very strong. So one needs to practice respectfully, meticulously, continuously so that these mental strength will become strong amazingly. So if one reflects or recall one's life in the past, how is his or her faith and confidence? How was his or her belief? So did he, she have faith and confidence on things that are worthy of faith and confidence? Did the person have faith and confidence on the Buddha, Dhamma or Sangha? Or did he, she have faith and confidence that good things, good deeds bring good results, bad deeds bring bad results? And what did the person believe about life? So there can be doubt, confusion, not certain. So if the person has doubt, confusion and uncertainty on the things that are worthy of faith and confidence, then he, she is lacking faith and confidence. And the person's mind will be agitated with doubt. So, before one comes for practice, his or her life will be full of doubt, not believing, not having faith and confidence in the things that is worthy of faith and confidence. So this person will not be able to try hard with the high-class practice. So there will not be alertness or activeness, but he, she will be lazy. and there will be lack of mindfulness. It is called mutta sati. That means lack of mindfulness, loss of mindfulness. So the person is wasting his or her time mostly by lack of mindfulness. And also there will be regret and remorse on whatever he, she has done wrong. So the person will be wasting his or her time with regret and remorse. And not knowing distinctly the true nature, he, she will be losing his or her time with delusion, not knowing the truth or knowing wrongly. And there will also be lack of moral shame, moral fear. So there will not be any moral shame or moral fear on the misconduct. So lack of moral shame and moral fear, one will be indulging in these misconduct, which are very disgusting, detestable, and the person become inferior. By noting on the object, if the person can note the object once, then the mental strength will arise during that noting, so that these unwholesome states cannot arise. So during the time that the person is able to note, there will be mental strength, and the unwholesome states have no chance to arise during the moment of noting. So that's why it is called salayanti, which means loosening the unwholesome state that had been very firm throughout one's life, making it loosen so that it will come off easily. So by developing Kama Vajra Kusala, by developing this Kama Vajra wholesomeness, one is said to be loosening the unwholesome state, loosening the disgusting state, so that it could be overcome easily. So by developing this Kama Vajra Kusala, one is said to be having the Danga Pahana, one is said to be abandoning these unwholesome states, abandoning these disgusting states momentarily, so that these disgusting states, which have been very firm throughout one life, will become loosened up, so that they could be overcome easily. So when the yogi has gained momentum in the practice, then the nivarana, hindrances, and pariyuttana kilesa, the obsessive form of kilesa, have been overcome, so that the mind is quite free from these pollutants when the person has gained momentum in the practice. So when the notings are getting momentum in the practice, then these unwholesome states, disgusting states, are becoming more distant and distant. So it is called salayanti kantenti, which means loosening the unwholesome state, loosening the disgusting state. So when you again and again loosen it, then it gains momentum, and these unwholesome, disgusting states become more and more loosened. So what can happen is that by gaining momentum in the practice, yogi is removing the unwholesome state or disgusting state on the object that he/she is able to note. So the yogi is overcoming the defilement that can arise by lack of mindfulness. So there will be the Danga Pahana, removing these disgusting and unwholesome states momentarily. When the yogi had gained momentum in the practice, even though he/she may miss to note some of the object, so even the object that the yogi has missed to note, the gross defilement will not arise because of the momentum of the practice. So, because of this momentum of practice, even though the yogi missed to note the object, gross form of defilement cannot arise concerning with that object due to momentum in the practice. That's why it is called Vikambana Pahana, which means removing by distancing the defilements. So, when the yogi gains momentum in the practice, he/she can remove the kilesa defilements concerning with the object that he/she is able to note. In this way, there will be the Danga Pahana, removing these defilements momentarily. And even though the yogi missed to note the object, the gross form of defilement cannot arise concerning with the object that has been missed due to momentum in the practice. It is called Vikambana Pahana, overcoming by distancing the defilement. So by knowing the nama rupa, mind and matter distinctly, by noting presently arising object, then the yogi comes to understand that the mind and matter, nama and rupa, are arising in pair. So in this way, the yogi comes to know the yogi comes to know how these nama rupa are arising in pair. So by knowing this nama rupa distinctly, yogi overcomes the wrong view of personality, wrong view that it is a man, woman, or jiva atta, soul. So one is said to be overcoming this wrong view of this personality, man, woman, or soul that has been firm throughout one's life. So by knowing this nama rupa distinctly, the wrong view of personality will become loosened, but it is not overcome totally yet. Only when the person had become a Sotapanna, he/she can overcome this personality view totally. By knowing cause and effect, yogi can overcome the wrong view, causeless view, and by understanding that relevant cause is giving effect to relevant effect, by this way the yogi is overcoming causeless view, and also yogi overcomes the view of being created, the view that believes in creation by Brahma. So this person overcomes this view, believing that things are created by the Supreme Soul. When the person understands cause and effect. So in this way, his or her wrong view will become loosened so that it can be totally overcome when he/she becomes a Sotapanna. And by understanding the impermanence, the yogi overcomes the view of permanence by understanding suffering, the yogi overcomes the view of good. So by understanding the true nature of objects, yogi comes to overcome the wrong view of permanent good and self. And when the yogi comes to see the new and new objects arising, she overcomes the wrong view of annihilation belief. And when the yogi understands the dissolution of objects through his or her practice, she overcomes the wrong view of eternity belief. So in this way, wrong views are overcome, wrong views will become loosened and weakened, so that it will be totally overcome when she becomes a Sotapanna. Saraji will continue to explain the next day. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.